Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, and welcome to the Specialist Trading Educational Presentation, where today I want to talk to you about next level trading with the Dynamic Duo. This is one of our most consistent trading courses, as well as most popular, because it really will take your trading to the next level, in our opinion. For example, here's what I'm going to be sharing with you today, because the Dynamic Duo consists of two trading edges that can really elevate your trading. As we look at this older chart here in KLAC, someone looking at this would say, well, maybe there's resistance here. You know, I went to that chat room and they said that the institutions are selling, so I don't want to do anything until it breaks out. You know, there's major resistance there. So you sit back and you wait. Well, with the Dynamic Duo, prior to waiting for a breakout, the first method actually generated two signals while you're in that kind of a sideways range. One was a sell. The other signal was a buy. So you ask yourself, well, which one do I take? Which one's going to work out? Well, the second portion of the Dynamic Duo actually confirmed which signal to take. Okay, it told you which one was valid and which one wasn't. And in this case, the second method actually crossed out the sell signal. So it said it was okay to take only one of those setups, and it was the buy setup. So therefore, you had the confidence of taking it, because the Dynamic Duo, being one of our most consistent trading courses, is backing this up. And look what happened. In the next week or so, you could have potentially captured 64 points simply by applying the Dynamic Duo. So this is what we're going to be talking about today: next level trading with the Dynamic Duo course. And everything you'll be seeing today has been taken from our program, our platform, I should say. The PTS Primo Charting Platform really makes trading simple and easy, because everything you're seeing today is displayed coming from our platform, and everything is one click away. So welcome once again. My name is Stephen Primo. I'm the president and founder of Specialist Trading, and I've been trading now for 46 years. And one of the first trading methods I started trading with was actually one of the actual methods in the Dynamic Duo. It's actually part one of the Dynamic Duo. Years later, as I became more accustomed to trading and started to become consistent, I elevated my trading by applying the second portion. And so these are things that I use on a consistent basis. I use them today in my personal trading, intraday trading, and you can apply the Dynamic Duo, which I'll be sharing with you, to almost any market. It makes no difference, and any time frame. Okay, so if you're an intraday trader like myself, or if you like to invest and like to look at weekly or even monthly charts, you can apply the Dynamic Duo. Or even if you're just a regular swing trader, it makes no difference. If you trade cryptos, if you trade currency pairs, or if you trade stocks, the Dynamic Duo is such a versatile package. You can apply it to almost any market and any time frame. Okay, so this is what we're going to be talking about today. But before we go into it, please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results by applying the Dynamic Duo, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And please remember that all examples, since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, speaking of education, remember, we're an educational company, so if you'd like to get more education on a daily basis, please feel free to follow us on Twitter. I see some new names here in the presentation today, so I would suggest copying down our Twitter handle right there, abbreviation for Specialist Trading. Every day I post upwards of 3 to 5 different snapshots of signals that our methods or techniques have generated. I also post different bits of financial wisdom, so there's lots of great free information on a daily basis. So please feel free to follow us on Twitter. Excuse me. Now remember, we are first and foremost an educational company. That means that our main focus is not on telling you what we think the market's going to do. It's not telling you what we think the perfect stock is to buy, or the perfect crypto to buy, or the perfect time frame to trade. That's not what a good mentor does. A good mentor teaches you how to trade, but does not trade for you. So as you can see here, my goal is not to force feed you signals, but to teach you how to trade with the specialist edge. When I first started trading 46 years ago, I struggled tremendously, probably like many of you are doing today, and that's okay. But I was able to turn my trading around by using these same techniques and methods and strategies that my mentors taught me. So that's what the specialist edge is. The same thing I was taught some 46 years ago that has helped give me this longevity is the same thing I teach my students around the world. So hopefully you'll be able to see it in today's educational presentation and take advantage of it as well. Okay, now before we begin, remember we have a pretty good sized class here today. So if you have any questions, please wait till the end to ask questions. I promise I'll get to each and every one of them. Also, yes, this is being recorded. So if you have to leave early or if you're having technical issues, oftentimes it's just your internet connection. You can just log off and log back on again. But if you still can't hear or see the presentation clearly, don't worry. We will send each and every one of you a link to this recording. Okay. So once again, remember, if you have a question, please wait till the end. I think I counted last over 150 slides today. So I don't want to stop at the end of each slide to answer a question. Oftentimes your question is answered on the very next slide. So let's just wait till the end for today's presentation. Okay. All right. With that stated, let's begin. And I'm going to start out with what my mentors taught me some 4 decades ago. And that's the market you're trading. Doesn't matter if it's stocks, it doesn't matter if it's intraday E-mini futures, doesn't matter if it's crypto, it doesn't matter if it's currency pairs, it makes no difference, regardless of time frame or direction. Tells you everything you need to know. Now that goes against everything we've ever been taught, right? We're always taught that, well, no, the interest rates always tell me everything I need to know. Or that guy in the chat room or the trading room or on TV after the market closes, he tells me everything I need to know. Or that convoluted indicator I bought, which I have no idea what it does, that tells me everything I need to know, right? That's the way we're all taught to trade, by basically taking ourselves out of the game and relying on someone or something else. But think of it, the very source of what we're trading, the chart in front of us, the market we're looking at, that really has all the answers. Only trouble is we're never taught to look at that in terms of telling us what to do. We're never taught to listen to that. We always want to listen to an outside force. So this is what we're going to be focusing on today. Now, there are 2 methods I'm going to teach you that you can actually use to apply to listen to the market. Since we're never taught to listen to the market, these 2 methods actually do listen to the market. And this is where you'll get the answers. Here's the first method. Strategy number 4. The very first strategy I was taught by my mentors some 45 years ago when I was struggling on the floor. This is the method they taught me, and this is what has sustained me and I still use on a daily basis. So to give you a little bit of background about it, it's a pattern recognition strategy. All right. So we're not looking for some convoluted indicator to tell us it's overbought, oversold. We're not looking for some really weird 20 requirements system. No, it's just looking for a specific pattern that repeats itself over and over again in any market, in any time frame. And in the course, we teach you how to identify that pattern. Now, it's designed originally for traders looking to catch momentum. And oftentimes, you will get a signal of this before the momentum actually kicks in. I'll show you a couple of examples of that. That's the beauty of strategy 4. Now, it only uses one indicator on top of that pattern, and I'll show you in just a few seconds what that is, okay? All right, so let's look at some examples so you can understand the process behind strategy number 4. All right, here we have an older chart in VRSN. Once again, there's absolutely no momentum here, right? Basically, range market. Every time it goes up, it goes back down, it goes back up, and then it looks like it's going back down. So one would stay away from this market because it's in a range, and this is where you get whipsaw. There's absolutely no momentum. It's just going sideways. But the first thing we do with strategy 4 is apply the only indicator in the strategy, and that's the 50-period moving average. If price is above the way it is here, automatically you're only going to be applying and identifying buy signals. You're going to look for this pattern on the buy side, okay? So right away, we know that we're only going to be a buyer in this scenario. Even though it looks as if there's absolutely no momentum, that goes against what the strategy is telling us. It's telling us actually it's building up some momentum, and in this case, to the upside. Now, there was a buy signal generated right here in the middle of that range, and look what happened. You see, what happens with most traders is by the time it starts to go up, that's when they say, hey, there's momentum here, I'm going to jump in. And many times you either buy a little bit too late in the middle of the run, or you buy at the very top, right? But that's the beauty behind strategy number 4. Oftentimes you'll get in because it's identifying momentum before anyone else sees it. Here's another example, okay, in PINS. All right, let's say you bought that $10,000 system that has to do with support and resistance, right, based on the institutions. And you say, hey, Steve, this guy, he used to work on the floor, and he says that there's major support here because of the institutions, so I'm going to be a big buyer, right? Well, we don't teach anything about support and resistance to our students. That's, in my opinion, once again, there's no consistency in that. The first thing we tell our students is to apply the 50-period moving average. All right, so we apply it here, and then we ask ourselves, where is price in relation to that 50-period moving average? Price is below. So just opposite of the other example, now that price is below, we're only going to be a seller. We're only going to look at this from a seller's point of view, and we're going to look for that pattern with a seller's bias. And guess what? It's right here. There's a sell signal that's been generated according to this pattern. Once again, I can't divulge what that pattern is, but you'll learn that in the course. Okay, so look what happened after that. The stock fell 10 points. And if you miss that sell signal, guess what? It generated a lot more. Now, a lot of our students don't like to go short, but perhaps they're in a long position already, like say you would have been long PINS right here. Well, you could have used any one of these sell signals to exit and at least lock in some of your profits before it fell out of bed and you lost 10 points potentially. Now, as with any method, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's one of mine. I don't care if it's someone else's. It doesn't matter if even you develop this method or system. Nothing works 100% of the time. So I'll say that again. Nothing, no system, no strategy, no method will work 100% of the time. That's just the way life is, okay? Just think of it. No athlete scores on every time up to bat or makes a basket every time. No entertainer has a hit album or a hit movie every time. But what you're looking for is consistency. Now, in this example here, let's say you look at and you follow all the rules. You say to yourself, okay, we're below the 50 and the pattern appeared right here. So that's a sell signal. So let's say you jump in and you sell short this or you buy the puts and look what happens. It goes higher. You say to yourself, wow, okay, it didn't work out, but that's okay. Maybe I got in a little bit too early. So you wait and there's another sell signal. The pattern reappeared. So you say to yourself, I'm going to double up because this is going to go now my way and I'll make even more money. So you double up and it goes even higher. Now, at this point, we've had a number of consecutive bars closing above the 50-period moving average. So the overall trend is no longer down. It's now up. So you take your loss and you say, wow, this didn't work at all. And you say to yourself, I'm not sure I should have purchased this. But then you wait a week or two and look what happens. Now we get two buy signals. Even though these intersected the 50-period moving average, they both closed above the 50. So you say to yourself, okay, well, I'm going to make all my money back I lost on those two sell signals. I'll double up here and I'll make it back really easy. And so you jump in and look what happens, okay? All right, so this is very discouraging. And as I said, nothing works 100% of the time. But here's the good news. This is where we go to the second edge of the dynamic duo, and this is the PET-D. Now, the PET-D is going to be used as a confirmation tool with the strategy number 4. Now, if you're not familiar with what the PET-D is, I've spoken about it many times. The PET-D is a color bar tool that is more sensitive than anything I've ever used in my 46 years of trading. And what it does is we developed it into a color bar tool where if you're in a downtrend, it colors the bars red. And if you're in an uptrend, it colors the bars green. Now, someone looking at this would say, well, Steve, I don't need the PET-D to tell me we're in a downtrend. I can see that already. Okay, so let's say you're in a downtrend here and you say to yourself, okay, well, now when we gap down, I'm going to get out of my position. This is a really bad sign here. So you exit and then this happens, right? So how could the PET-D have helped us in this scenario? Well, here's how to apply it on our platform. Click on the PET-D and now the bars will automatically turn either red or green. Now, here's the beauty of the PET-D. This is usually where people decide that, okay, I better get out of my position. This is really bad. But look way up here, weeks in advance, we had consecutive red bars telling us in advance that this was in a downtrend. And that if you were long, most likely you're going to be swimming upstream or going against the flow. You should likely exit or place a stop close by if you got stopped out. So you could have exited way up here prior to this news event where it gapped down. And if you were looking about getting back in, look what happened. Right here, 3 consecutive green bars would have been more than enough signal that the trend now wanted to go higher. And you could have gotten back in if you wanted to based on some strategy or technique. And look at price went all the way back up. So do you see how the PET-D could have helped you here? Usually the way traders trade is the opposite. If we're long something, we'll say, okay, I'm going to get out right here, or maybe I'll short it right here because that's really bad news, okay? And then by the time it goes all the way back up, this is where you cover and you get out with a loss. The PET D is the opposite. It's so sensitive, it could have warned you of that well in advance for the downside and warned you well in advance for the upside. Okay, so how's this going to help us with strategy number 4? Well, when we combine the PET D with strategy number 4, this creates our dynamic duo. This is really creating a synergy for success, and I'm going to show you exactly the process behind these two great and powerful edges here. All right, so here are the rules now for applying the dynamic duo. The first thing is you're only going to trade strategy number 4 buy signals that are generated that are colored green by the PET D. This means that the PET D is confirming that signal. And conversely, we're only going to trade strategy number 4 sell signals that are colored red by the PET D, because the PET D is confirming that it will go down. So this means that if you get a buy signal and it's colored red by the PET D, will you be taking that? Absolutely not, because they're out of sync with each other. This also means that if you get a sell signal, but the bar is colored green, should you be taking that signal? Absolutely not, because they're out of sync. You only want to be in sync with the direction of the signal. Let me show you what I mean here. Remember, everything is one click away on our platform, the PTS Primo Charting Platform. I developed this with Pro Trader Strategies to really make trading simple. All right, let's look at this older chart in the APA. All right, so how could the dynamic duo have helped us looking back in hindsight? Well, the first thing we want to do is, even though we teach you what to look for, you want to check your work. So let's say you have properly studied and researched the course, and you say, okay, I know what to look for with strategy number 4 buy signals. I know what this pattern is. You want to check your work, click on strategy number 4, and in the drop-down menu, click on signal arrows. This will tell you if you've properly identified them or not. All right. And there are a number of them right here. Some sells or some buys. Some work out better than others. Obviously, this one worked out, but this one did not. Obviously, this one worked out, but these ones haven't worked out yet. So this brings us to part 2 of the dynamic duo. After you have a buy or sell signal, then you want to click on the PET D, and this will automatically change the colors. Now we use that process of confirmation. So if we have a sell signal the way we have here, we want to see that the bar below the red arrow is colored red, and it is. And so look how well this worked out. You could have potentially captured 5 points in just less than a week. Now we have another sell signal, and what is the color of the bar below the signal? It's green. So that's not in sync, because green means that the trend is up, and you don't want to sell if the short-term trend is up. So we're not going to take that at all. And that was a really favorable decision, because look what happened. You would have lost money. Now we have a buy signal here, and the color of the bar above the buy signal is outlined green. So that is a valid dynamic duo signal. We can take that, and look what happened. Could have potentially captured 8 points within the next couple of weeks. Now, as the market starts to retrace and come back lower, we have a number of consecutive buy signals. But what color is the bar above each and every one of those buy signals? Remember, in order for us to take them using the dynamic duo, those have to be colored green. And if you look at each and every one is either colored or outlined red. So that means we will not take one of these signals. And therefore, that also means we would not have lost any money. Some of the best trades are the ones you never take. So the only signals we would have taken in this display here would have been both profitable. Why? Because the dynamic duo filtered out and used only the best setups. So now you understand the process. Let me share with you some recent dynamic duo signals. Some of these are about a month or so old. Some of them happened within the last couple of days. All right, here's an example in Starbucks, SBUX, okay? Once again, is there any momentum that we can see here just based off these last 6 bars? Absolutely not. It's just kind of going sideways, right? Well, we click on strategy number 4 because we think maybe we see a strategy number 4 setup. Click on signal arrows to check our work. And yes, there's a buy signal right there. Now, this has a high level of consistency to it, but we want to increase that consistency even more. So we apply the second portion of the dynamic duo to confirm this signal. That's the PET D. Click on PET D. And guess what? Yes, it is. Not only are the bars before it green, but the bar above the signal is green as well. Now, here's one mistake that most students make. They say, well, Steve, the bar is green, but the previous bars were red. Okay, so does that mean I shouldn't take it? No, all we're interested in, even though this is a good sign that all the bars are green, it doesn't matter. All that makes sense is that the bar above the green arrow is also outlined green. That's all you need. It doesn't matter what the color is of the previous bars. So this would have been a valid signal. This would have happened just about 3 weeks ago, and you could have gained 10 points coming into this past week, okay? Not a bad little trade. Here's another example. This was a meta, and this was also about a month or so ago. Once again, looks like we're in some type of a range here, right? There's absolutely nothing happening, a sideways market. So why would you want to get involved in this? Let's wait for some more momentum, right? Well, that's the beauty of strategy 4, because it will tell you if it's spotting momentum, most likely before anyone else can. So let's say you think you see that this pattern has been identified. In order to check your work, you click on strategy 4, click on signal arrow. And if you identified these 2 bars as buy signals, you were correct. That's the pattern we're looking for. Now, we want to take our consistency to the next level. So we apply the PET D, and we want to see that these 2 bars are colored green. And yes, they are. So you could have taken the first or the second signal, either one, and potentially captured 22 points coming into last month. Let's look at AXP, American Express. Okay, here's a sell signal, strategy number 4, sell signal. If we apply the PET D, yes, it's valid because it's colored red. Remember, if this were colored green, like the bar before it, well, then it wouldn't be valid. And most likely, the odds would be against it being a consecutive or consistent signal. So we wouldn't take it. But because it is validated by the PET D, we want to take this. And you could have potentially captured 12 points in just about 3 days, okay? Here's another example in BIIB. Okay, we have a downtrend here. Okay, it looks as if we're in a short-term downtrend. So most likely you want to sell, right? Well, not really, because there's a buy signal right here at the bottom. Well, how can there be a buy signal if we're in a downtrend? Well, that's how sensitive strategy 4 is. It's already identifying that there's momentum building up to the upside. Now, in order to validate that, we apply the PET D, and yes, this is colored green, so we want to take this trade. Now, this was just about a week or so ago. You could have potentially captured 30 points coming into last week just by taking that valid signal. Now, here's another way in which the PET D as well as strategy 4, the dynamic duo, can really help you, sometimes by keeping you out and filtering out some bad signals. For example, we have another downtrend here, just like the previous example, right? And if you identify that pattern, you see there's another buy signal here. You say, well, it worked on that last one, so I might as well take this signal. But remember, if you're using the dynamic duo, it has to be confirmed by the PET D. So let's apply the PET D. Well, what color is the outline of the bar above the buy signal? It's red. So what is the dynamic duo telling you? It's telling you not to take this trade. The odds are against you that it'll work out. And look what happened after that, okay? You see how this can really help you and keep you out of bad setups. Here's another example right here. Obviously, we're in an uptrend. This is where traders would get excited to say, hey, Steve, well, that guy in that chat room says this is going to take off. It's bottomed out, and I got to jump in now before it doubles its price value, and things really going to scream, all right? Well, you're in an uptrend, okay, but you got a sell signal here. So let's confirm just to make sure it's going to go down, or even if it's not. We had the PET D, and guess what? The sell signal is not confirmed because we need that to be colored red. So maybe you're right. Maybe it is going to go higher. So you're not going to take that trade. And guess what? You're right. The stock did go straight up. But at least when you're trading with a dynamic duo, you have the assurance of knowing you're in sync, not only with momentum identifier, but with the short-term trend, PET D. Okay, now also another advantage to trading strategy number 4 and the PET D are their consistency. Now, I know a lot of you think consistency means, well, that means I'll have consistent winners. No, consistency is actually the opposite. Consistency means there is an awareness that you will have losses from time to time, and that's perfectly admissible. But what you want is a method that's able to recoup those losses. So how does the dynamic duo apply that? Well, here's the sell signal. We apply the PET D, and it's confirmed. All right, So that's a valid signal to take. So we take it, and really nothing happens in the next 2 days. In fact, now we're kind of losing money. Now, as that happens, look what happens on the next bar. Now the bar turns green, and now we're really losing money. But at the same time, that pattern reemerges again, and now it's saying that this is a buy signal. So this is what we mean by consistency. The ability to take a loss. In this case, it would have been a 5-point loss. Using one of our generic stops, you would have lost 5 points. But getting back on the horse and switching gears and saying, okay, this one did not work out, but this one most likely will. It's a valid dynamic duo setup. And look what happened, 30 points in 3 days. So potentially you could have made back that 5 you lost and made potentially an extra 25 in just 3 days. This is what we mean by consistency and awareness that you will have losses from time to time, but the assuredness and the confidence to take signals that are upcoming, because oftentimes they will recoup what you just lost. All right, we have 2 sell signals that were generated in Qualcomm, and this just happened a couple of weeks ago, okay? 2 sell signals. If we apply the PET-D, guess what? They're both valid, 20 points. And look at this was last week. Now, obviously, some news came out where this gap down tremendously. And it's funny how 2 or 3 weeks in advance, we knew to sell this prior to that fundamental news coming out. None of our methods or strategies are based on fundamental news. We're not looking at any economic reports. We're not looking at earnings. It's all, remember, as my mentors taught me, everything you need to know is in the chart in front of you. And oftentimes it will tell you in advance of a news announcement what's going to happen. And if you missed those first 2, there was another one just 2 days before that big gap down movement. You could have gotten short. All right, let's look at this example in ANSS. This is going back a couple of months, but just to show you what you would have done here in this example. Once again, absolutely no momentum, right? Just kind of going up, down, But strategy 4 generated 2 buy signals right in the middle of that kind of nowhere trendless market, right? But you don't just want to take them based on strategy number 4. Even though strategy number 4 has a high level of consistency, we want to up that consistency. So we apply the PET-D, and guess what? Each one of these buy signals is colored or outlined green. Remember, it makes no difference what the color is before or after. All that matters is that these are colored green. And look what happened. Gapped up on some big news. It's funny how we knew that days in advance and went up 60 points coming into April. And once again, the beauty of strategy 4 is oftentimes if that pattern repeats itself, it'll give you a second chance to get back in if you missed the first setups. All right, here's a weekly chart of the QQQs. That's the ETF that represents the NASDAQ. So you can use this for different markets and different time frames, all right? Now, this happened going back to April of 2022. So we're looking back a year ago on a weekly chart. Each one of these bars is a week. We have a sell signal right at the top here. So it's telling you that even though we've had a really nice run up, the momentum is now down. But in order to confirm that, we apply the PET-D, and we see that the PET-D is confirming it. Remember, even though these are weekly bars colored green, it makes no difference. We just want the bar below the red arrow to also be red. And it was. And look what happened in the next 2 months. The NASDAQ fell 80 points, which represented thousands of points in the NASDAQ index. Now, as it firmed up, a lot of people thought, well, hey, looks like we bottomed out. It's time to buy again. But once again, strategy 4 generated 2 sell signals. Now, the first one was not confirmed. Why? Because the bar was colored green. So that wouldn't have been confirmed, but the second one was. So now you have confirmation to take it, and 52 points to the downside coming into this year, okay? These are all weekly time frames. All right, let's look at an example here. Once again, let's talk about fundamental news, because we do not use any fundamental news in any of our requirements, but just to show you how, like I said, the market tells you everything you need to know, not some fundamental indicator or some announcement. Here we have a chart in SGEN. This was going back to last February. It looks like it's heading upwards, but it's kind of going sideways to up, so we don't really have a clear-cut idea. And if we apply strategy number 4, click on signal arrows, it's telling an entirely different story. Look at all the buy signals generated. It's telling us, in fact, it's screaming to us that there's going to be some tremendous momentum to the upside. And you say to yourself, how can you see that? There's absolutely nothing happening. It's just basically been going sideways. How could there be some tremendous movement to the upside? Well, this pattern just keeps repeating and repeating, and it's telling you, or as I said earlier, it's screaming to you that you have to buy this. Now, in order to take that to the next level, we apply the PET-D, we click that on, and guess what? All the bars above the arrows are colored or outlined green. So they've all been confirmed. But you say to yourself, but nothing's happened. I've just kind of gone sideways for the last 2 weeks. So why would I do this? And, well, listen, you don't have to. Remember, our job is just to teach you and educate you. But right here, I can't think of a better signal when you get multiple signals like this. And then look what happened. On the 16th, Cesium Inc. was up 12% to 159.18 after an earnings beat. All right, so the announcement was the positive annual growth shows that the healthcare company is performing great amidst recent economic conditions. So it's doing really well, and the great earnings boost caused it to gap up 12%. Isn't that funny how we knew well in advance to buy before that happened? Now, let's say you decided to take a quick profit. That's great. But look what happened after that. It continued to go higher with buyout rumors and went up actually 70 points in 2 months. Now, this is the way most traders trade. They'll look at it somewhere around here and say, gosh, how did I miss that? I wish I would have known to buy this. Well, that's the beauty of the dynamic duo. Remember, it is telling you everything you need to know prior, many times, not guaranteed, but it's been my experience that oftentimes, the majority of times, you'll get tremendous signals before a news announcement even occurs. Okay, let's recap what we taught you today. First thing, part of the dynamic duo, the first edge is strategy number 4. It's a method that I've been trading and using. In fact, I used it this morning. I had a couple of nice winners, intraday trading E-mini. It's based off a pattern, and it's highly consistent. It was the first method I learned some 45 years ago, and I continue to use to this day. And it will teach you exactly in the course what to look for with this pattern. The second edge we shared with you is the PET-D, another tool that I picked up from my days on the floor of the stock exchange. And this is a color bar tool. What it does is it's extremely sensitive, and it colors the bars and tells you the short-term trend. If the short-term trend is down, it colors the bars red. If the short-term trend is up, it colors them green. It's that simple. Now, one of the simplest and easiest ways to use it is as a confirmation tool. So if strategy 4 generates a buy signal, the bar above the green arrow should also be green. Conversely, if strategy 4 generates a sell signal, the bar below the red arrow should also be colored red. When you combine these two forces, you get what we call the dynamic duo. Now, when I first started trading this years ago, I had to do this by hand and calculate in my head and figure out what the PET-D was doing, and calculate it by a hand calculator and also look for the pattern. And sometimes in your intraday trading, it gets very cumbersome. It's very intense trying to figure all this out. That's why we made it simple. Everything you're seeing today was one click away by applying the PTS Primo Charting Platform. It automatically tells you where these setups are. It automatically colors the bars red or green. So there's nothing to think about. You just simply have to decide and figure out your risk parameters and see if you want to take the trade or not. We put the power back in your hands. We make trading simple with the PTS Primo Charting Platform. So ask yourself, do you think these two edges, which we just shared with you, can help your trading for the remainder of 2023? Remember, now everything I just shared with you happened within the last couple of weeks or so, right? And some of them happened within the last couple of days. So that's what we're trying to tell you. I know a lot of webinars you may have attended, they have some fantastic signals that look great. Go back and look at the dates. Many of them are years, some 2 years old. We try to show you how this can be applied in things that just happened in the last month, the last couple of weeks. That shows you how consistent these trading methods really are. So ask yourself, do you think they could help you for the remainder of 2023? Well, I think most of you would agree and say yes. So because of that, we have a great offer for all of you attending today. In fact, it's a great discount for today. We're going to offer you our dynamic duo special. That's strategy number 4, along with the PET-D. You're going to get, with this great discount, instant course access. You can actually be up and running as early as today. You'll get detailed instruction on how to apply strategy number 4, what to look for the pattern, where to place your stops, where to place your entries, where to place your exits. You'll know all about that. You'll get automatic buy and sell arrows. So you'll know exactly how to check your work to see if you properly identified a setup. And you'll also get the PET-D, okay? This is the PET-D trend detector, the color bar tool. And along with being able to apply it with Strategy 4, we'll also give you 4 PET-D trading techniques. These are entirely different from what I shared with you today. These are trading techniques that just use the PET-D, and you can apply them to your own method, your own strategy, and they're just based on highlighting high probability entry areas, okay? This is a great, great offer, but remember, everything you saw today was on our platform. So here's what we're going to do. Included in the offer, we're going to also throw in a full year of the platform. Now, 12 months of our platform runs close to $1,800. Guess what? Totally free. You're not going to have to spend anything for that. You're going to get a full year, 12 months, absolutely free of the platform if you sign up for our Dynamic Duo special. Now, along with the platform, you're not just going to get Strategy 4 along with a PET-D. You'll also get a signal scanner. You'll get auto-generated exit levels. You'll get a strength of trend tool, tell you when, oftentimes when a trend is running out of gas or a trend is just beginning. Over 90 of the most prominent technical indicators, personalized tech support, and just a host of other techniques and tips that you won't find on any other platform, because these are techniques and methods that I've accumulated in my 46 years of trading, many of them from the trading floor. And once again, you won't find them on any other platform. That's all included with your free year of the platform. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, well, this is great, Steve, but you only showed stocks or a certain time frame. I like to trade other time frames, other markets. So does it apply to that? Well, sure. Let me show you some other markets here. Here's a 4-hour chart of the Canadian dollar, okay? Now, this is how the PET-D could have helped you. This just happened a couple of weeks ago in April, all right? We had a buy signal and a sell signal. What color is the bar above the buy signal? This is a Canadian dollar, remember. This is not a stock, but the same rules apply. In order for us to take this buy signal, it would have had to been colored or outlined green. And what color is it? It's red. So we're not going to take that. So you Forex traders could have taken the sell signal, and roughly in the next 3 days, you could have potentially captured 150 pips. That's on average close to $1,500 per unit. That's an entirely different market, entirely different time frame. How about if we look at a weekly chart of gold? Okay, this is the gold chart. Once again, using the same rules, we have 2 buy signals here. This is the pattern, and they're confirmed with the PET-D. Look what happened coming into last month, April. It was up 190 basis points. So that's an entirely different time frame, a different market. And then lastly, if you're an intraday trader, here's a 5-minute chart of the spiders. This was a couple of weeks ago in April, okay? You had a 5-minute chart. All the bars were colored green, but most especially the bar above the buy signal was also colored green. So you could have taken that and made in just that same day close to 5 points trading the spiders, which is the ETF for the S&P 500. And look at all the other buy signals you could have taken advantage of. Now, there was only one signal that wasn't confirmed, which was this one right here, but you could have jumped back in on the second one. So we've shown you intraday trading. We've shown you looking at spot gold. We've also shown you Forex markets. It makes no difference what market and what time frame. All right, so here's our Dynamic Duo combo plus 12 months of the PTS Primo Charting platform, absolutely free. Here's the great offer we have for you. Let's break it down. Strategy number 4, if you purchase it separately, would cost you close to $700. With the PET-D, if you just purchase it separately, it costs you close to $5,000. That's how valuable it is. And as we said earlier, if you just wanted to get a year of the PTS Primo Charting platform, that's close to $1,800. So if you decided not to be a student of mine with this great offer we're going to have today, you most likely would have to spend close to $7,500. Okay, that's a lot of money, and we don't expect you to pay that much, especially if you're a new student of ours. So we wouldn't charge you that. Here's the great offer we have. We're going to charge you just a one-time payment of $497. That's less than $500, and just establish a monthly payment of $97 per month. That's it. Think of it. You're going to get all these things that I've accumulated in over 4 decades. They're going to be yours for less than $500 and establish a monthly payment plan of just $97 per month. Okay. Remember, if you want to pay in full, sure, we'll still discount it. We'll take off roughly close to $2,500, and you'll only pay in full $49.95. And remember, that still comes with a full free year of the platform. invest in yourself. I know you take the time to invest in buying these convoluted systems that you have no idea how they work. You just saw some guy give you a presentation where they automatically spit out the buy and sell signals, or you've invested in other things in markets that you have no idea. Someone told you about some crazy crypto and you just said, well, everyone else is making money, I'll do it. Invest in yourself. Knowledge is the true holy grail. Take charge of your trading, okay? Take it to the next level with the Dynamic Duo. It's an educational course where you'll actually understand and learn what this pattern is, and you'll know how to identify it. You'll know how to check your work. You'll also know how to confirm it with the Pat D, and you'll learn a host of other different techniques where you'll put the trading back in your hands, where you'll be making your own decisions. And once again, you won't have to be relying on an outside source to tell you what to do. This, in our opinion, is the only way you can become a consistent trader, by making your own trading decisions. Let us help you do that. Take charge of your trading, invest in yourself with the Dynamic Duo course. Here's how to take advantage of this. Contact Pro Trader Strategies. They're my sister site. They're in charge of all the discounts. They're also in charge of the platform and the tech support. You can reach them by calling area code 310-598-6677. If you'd like to purchase the plan or take that great offer of $497 and establish a payment plan, they can do that right now over the phone. Or if you just have any questions and you'd like to ask them questions about discounts and pricing, they would be happy to give you a quote and just to take down your information. There's absolutely no obligation. Now, that link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the info and the sign-up page. A lot of our students like to sign up online by themselves. That's fine. But that's not a live link. You'd have to copy and paste that. So to make things easier, we've posted a live link in the webinar chat box. So just simply click on that little chat icon there, and it will open up, and you'll see a link posted for everyone. Just click that on, and it will open up a browser automatically, okay? But remember, the best thing is probably, even if you just have questions, to contact Pro Trader Strategies at 598-6677. Now, I promised you I would take the last portion to answer any questions. So if you have any, please go to your chat box or go to your question and answer box. Just type them in, and I promise I'll answer them. I see we have one here. This is the most common question we get all the time, so I'll answer it once again. And that is, what do you mean by educational correspondence? Because if I back up here, well, I don't want to back up. I want to leave this information. On the info slide, it said educational correspondence. What that means is that each and every one of my students will get my personal email address. So if at any time, doesn't matter if it's on a weekend, doesn't matter if it's before the market opening, it doesn't matter if it's during the market or after the market close, you can always email me at my personal address and ask me any question. Let's say you're not sure about a setup, or you're not sure about if you're properly identifying a strategy for setup. You can always email me, send me a snapshot of what you're looking at, and I'll get right back to you and share with you what I think. Now, remember, this email is my personal address. It doesn't go to an intern. It doesn't go to an assistant. It doesn't go to a salesperson. It goes right to me. So no one else is going to see it. There's no reason to feel intimidated that you don't want to ask a question. So I answer each and every one of them, usually within 24 hours, sometimes within a couple of minutes. I'll get right back to you, okay? So that's what we mean by educational correspondence. Believe me, if I could find a way out to magically be with all of our students, thousands of students around the world in over 115 countries, just sitting next to you, teaching you how to trade this, I would love to do that. I'd love the interaction, but unfortunately I can't. So the next best way is for you to send me emails, okay? Let's see. I think someone asked this prior to the close. They asking, can this be applied to currency pairs? Yes, it can. You saw a 4-hour chart of the Canadian dollar. I believe there were some good signals that were just recently taken in the Australian dollar and the euro dollar. So this pattern, remember, repeats itself in any market and in any time frame. So strategy 4 is based on a pattern, and what the pattern is doing is it's identifying a momentum buildup. Okay, and the beauty of this pattern is that oftentimes it will identify momentum building up before it even appears on the chart. So you can often get in before the news announcement comes out, or before it takes off to the upside or to the downside. You can apply it as a market trend detector. So for example, let's say you don't trade the spiders or the QQQs. Well, if there's a buy signal in the spiders, most likely, and it's confirmed by the PET-D, most likely that means that the market's going to have a nice rally. So therefore, if you were thinking about buying something, maybe it was in the S&P 500 or just a stock that went with the market, that would give you the assurance of knowing that, well, hey, listen, that pattern is in the S&P 500 or in the spiders. So most likely the market's going to have a rally. So most likely it's okay to buy this stock. Conversely, let's say you're short and you got a sell signal, that would give you the confidence to take the short signal. It would also, if you were short and there was a buy signal being generated, you'd have an extra advantage of knowing maybe to get out. So there's lots of ways to apply it to your trading. You just don't have to use it to trade. You can use it as an indicator to tell you what you think the market's doing. It's a great, great tool. And trust me, I used it this morning. I use it every day in my personal trading. And it's probably, as I stated earlier, not only is it our most consistent trading course, but it's also our most popular around the world, okay? All right, good questions. If there are no further ones, remember, if you have any more questions after this is concluded, remember, you're each going to get a link to this recording later on today, so you can watch this again. And if some more questions come up, don't hesitate to contact Pro Trader Strategies. They can answer these questions. They can also set up a payment plan or give you a quote. Simply by calling them at 310-598-6677. For less than $500, you can get over 4 decades of trading information that I've accumulated, okay? It's a great way to become acquainted with us. It's a great way to get your trading back on track, okay? As we close now, I just want to say thank you for taking time out of your Wednesday. I hope you learned a little bit about us and our approach to trading and our philosophy about education. And as you take one last look at our disclaimer, I'd also like to thank you once again for joining this presentation. And most especially, I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the Dynamic Duo course. Thank you so much. Have a great trading day, and I hope to see you in class. Bye-bye.